Hey guys, it's Amber and I'm back for the WoW Creative team with another 2 rainbow embossed cards. This time I'm featuring the Simon Says Stamp Thankful Flowers stamp set. This has some beautiful large blooms in it and also some really bold sentiments that I thought would look great with a rainbow. So we have Love is the Drug, Angel Eyes, and Jealous Guys. This is one of my favorite trios. This is actually the Ferry Man trio, although you can buy those colors individually now. I also have Primary Lemon, Metalline Flame, and Metalline Kiwi Krush. These are the colors that I ended up using. I actually started with a bit of a different color palette, and I'll share those colors in a couple seconds. So I'm just pulling off 2 of the individual stamps, and I'm going to apply them to acrylic blocks. There's me conditioning my stamp. Basically, I just rub my palm over it and call it a day. You just want to get the surface of your stamp cloudy so that it stamps and accepts the ink well. And I don't know that that's actually too necessary if you're using embossing ink, because embossing ink always stamps well, but it's just a habit at this point whenever I have a new stamp. So initially when I was thinking about this card design, I was thinking I would do a light green, a dark green, a light blue, a dark blue, and a pink, and that dark purple that I have. Once I had them embossed, I didn't love the color palette, so I switched out, which was Metalline Himalayan Musk, and that dark blue at the top, which was Primary Blue Tang. As always, I start heat embossing from the back just to start heating things up, and then I come to the front and finish off the melting of the powder. I'll go ahead and die cut these with the coordinating die set off screen. And then I want to stamp my sentiment. So same thing, I'm just going to rub that with my palm. And to stamp this, I'm going to use New Obsidian Pigment Ink. This is a really crisp ink that's great for sentiments and really great for large stamps with a lot of surface area. I find that it stamps really well, so perfect for this kind of stamp. So as I start arranging my die cuts, I discover I don't feel like the dark blue and the purple go with this color palette very well, and B, I definitely need more flowers. I did not heat emboss or cut enough flowers. So I grabbed Primary Lemon and Metalline Flame, and I'm going to swap out those 2 colors with these, which I think goes much better. Also gives a more complete rainbow. The only thing that we're missing is an indigo. I really enjoy designing with black, and because the sentiment is so big and bold, ideally I like to have black in at least 3 places on my cards. So I decided to run these eighth inch thick cardstock strips down the side of the card. And I have to say, I would totally use this card just as is, just like this. I would totally send this to someone. I think it's a really nice card. I love how much white space there is, and the black, I think it is be a great masculine card, but really great for anybody just as is like that. But of course we're going to use all of our flowers that we made. So I'm going to go ahead and get these arranged, and basically what I ended up with was a large and a small of each color that we embossed. So and I use almost all of them. So I'm just going to get these popped up on some foam squares, and for anything that hangs off, I'll flip it over and trim that off from behind. I definitely want to make sure that I leave some space so that you can see those black strips of cardstock. I don't want to completely cover that up. And I try to leave the spacing fairly consistent from flower to flower, and then also the spacing around the sentiment as well. I didn't cut that piece too evenly, and it was easier just to shift it over than to try and cut it again. I thought this would be the finished card, but I decided I wanted to add just a touch more black, so I'm just gluing some Nuvo drops that I had previously dried on a craft mat. I kind of run a whole bunch of different sizes of these down a craft mat and dry them, because otherwise if I try and do it directly on the card, I most certainly will mess it up. So I love how this card turned out. Particularly, I like the popped up elements and how it casts a shadow, and the strips down the side as well. Moving on to the next card, we're going to do some freestyle with the mixed media embossing brush. And I had a plan for this. I knew that I was only going to use 4 colors of the rainbow, so not a full rainbow, but I do have a little bit of advice with this technique. So what I would suggest is, so I wanted some dry brush edges, at the ends of these stripes, these rainbow stripes. So when you put your brush down, first of all, you want to knock off as much as you can into the bottle. And then when you put the belly of the brush down, start in the middle of the cardstock and then move out to the edges. If you can wipe up the majority of the gel at the middle of the paper, then your edges are going to be more dry and have more distressed texture to them. So you don't want to put a fully inked brush down at the edges of your cardstock. I hope that makes sense. So then I'm just sprinkling on some Love is the Drug, and I had put down more gel than what I really needed. So here's another tip. So I'm just extending that a little bit more. And now I'm going to add yellow. So I haven't embossed the pink yet. And that's okay, except for I was kind of knocking on my cardstock too hard. So what happened is it knocked some of the pink off into the yellow that I ended up putting back in my container. So my yellow is contaminated just a little bit with that pink. So I would recommend that you emboss after each stripe. Even if you put down a little too much gel, go ahead and emboss. You can always put down more. So that's what I've done here. I've got both of those colors embossed. I'm putting down more gel. And the other thing that I noticed is, so like my pink is more narrow. So my pink at the top, I have about, like a centimeter, half an inch of space at the top and on the sides. And you can see as I go down the page, my stripes start to get longer and longer. So that's something to just pay attention to. I didn't bother me too much. I just went with it and didn't make another card, but you want to take note of that. What I wouldn't recommend is putting any kind of pencil lines or any guidelines like that on your card, because some of these embossing powders that I'm using, particularly the yellow, are transparent. So you would be able to see any kind of marks that you put in your card or guidelines through the embossing powder. So just literally do it freestyle and kind of let go. So here you can see all of that amazing texture. So pretty, you guys. I especially love the blue at the bottom, the angel eyes. And I would recommend overlapping your colors like I did here as well. And the more dry brush effect you get, the more you're going to have that overlaid color. And then pay attention to the type of powder you're using. If you're using a translucent, that's going to show through and layer differently than your opaque powders like the Angel Eyes and the Love is the Drug and the Metalline are opaque. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed these projects and will give them a try. If you do, be sure to tag Wow at Wow Embossing and myself at Notable Ink. We'd love to see what you're creating, and enter your projects into the challenge on our Facebook page. The link for that is down below. All of the supplies are listed down below, as well as a 10% discount code. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you guys real soon with more inspiration.